Okay, hello and welcome everyone to Taters and Shrimps on the Barbie. And why would we call it that? Well, my regular co-host Craig Jamieson and Craig lives in Idaho and they have a lot of potatoes up there, so they put them on the Barbie. And I live in Australia and we have a lot of prawns, but for the purpose of the exercise, we know you think about them as shrimps. So if you're on the other side of the Pacific from me, like Michelle is, then you're going to talk about shrimp. So that's how we came up for it, just something a bit different. But we talk about things, customer relationship management, relationship building, sales, business growth. We cover all these, this because everything is integrated. How does marketing affect us? How do we use tools to make sure that we build stronger relationships that enable us to create more repeat customers? But today I'm really delighted that I've got Michelle Lee as our guest today because Craig is throwing what we call down under a sickie. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Ross. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the name. Just saying.
That's good. We put that's one vote. Well, that's 3 votes for it at least. People say, why do you call it that? It doesn't even have anything to do with business. Well, you stand around a water cooler. Well, Craig and I do stand around barbecues and have a chat and have a beer or some other poison occasionally, and it's really a great way to discuss things because this isn't about promoting sales. We want interaction, and people, you can actually join us live online if you have questions by using joinmeonlinenow.com. People there, but we'll give you an opportunity to do that. But Michelle, I know that you've been a business coach. You've had your own business. You in corporate life. You lost your job and you lost everything, and you built yourself back up into a fantastic business now. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a mom of 2 beautiful kids, 2 boys. They are 20 and 21. Still mind blowing. And I have 2 fur babies, of course, 2 bulldogs that entertain me daily. And I've been in business for, oh gosh, I've been in the corporate world for 30 plus years. And I was introduced in my journey to a way of really being a better version of myself and helping my business grow faster and connecting better with everybody around me. So that's my mission, is to connect and empower people.
And you do it so well. I mean, if we hadn't connected, we possibly wouldn't be here together. But it's wonderful how you actually go about what you do and help people, because I've benefited from your help, which has been fantastic. But today we talk about customer relationship and buyer personas and buying. And in business, we talk about by profiling customers and also staff. We use personality tests like DISC, Myers-Briggs, and there's a lot of other ones. But we rely on the buyer persona and a lot of the research. A lot of companies that can do research pay a fortune to understand who the customers, their buying habits, what their lifestyle, why they make them, and even to a degree their values. And even when in business, we talk about understanding your customers' values as part of that buyer persona. But I'd like us to focus on how can we do better. Like there's the old story, it's a numbers game. Throw the mud at the wall. You only get enough people in and you'll get enough yeses and you'll make your money, right? I've followed that rule, and I know a lot of other people have. And that's one of the ways of doing it. And the other part is, how do we build stronger relationships? Because that's my core of how I think about anything. If you don't, I talk about prospects becoming customers and customers becoming repeat customers. A customer is always a prospect and getting it back. But we have relationships with our customers, our staff, our prospects, our business community, and our family. And those are all part. If you don't have that, that's to me like one of the roots of a tree that grow the business tree. If you don't have those relationships in place and make them strong, you're not going to be as successful as you could be.
Absolutely.
So,
well, relationships are the foundation of everything. Business, your personal life, your customer retention, your leadership, everything revolves around relationships. And the key is that we need to make people matter. And so you can look at all the other ways to assess people and look at, where they fit in this profile or that profile. But what it really comes down to is understanding people and being able to meet them where they are. When you look at people's values, their values drive their buying decision. Their values drive the way they show up in the world. It's what's important to them. And so understanding what's important to the person sitting across from you and being able to meet them there, that's the key to building those stronger relationships, because people are wired different. And there's a way that we can all come together, even though we're different, not change the person that we are, but show up in a way that we respect the person across from us enough to value what they value and to speak to them the way they were meant to be spoken to, not the way we just think they should be spoken to.
but don't we do that? Like we talk about getting to know them, and we talk about people who are introverted, and we're talking about people who are extroverted. They've got, look at the wall, and you've got photographs on your wall, and you got a sign there from Pennzoil, and you're meant to be looking for these icebreakers and things that they might be interested in, are ways that we talk to them. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah. So people have been trying to find ways to connect to people by looking at what's in that person's office, what's behind them on their screen. Then people have, when everything went virtual, it became even difficult to find out who that person was, but we're still guessing, right? It doesn't matter if somebody's an introvert or an extrovert. It doesn't matter. When you're looking at the sales process, what the reason they buy is the question that needs to be answered when you're trying to serve someone, right? How can you help that person?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to drive a yes, and what's going to get you to avoid to stay away from a no? You don't want to know. And when people go into sales and they're looking at sales as a numbers game, it's not a numbers game. It's a people game. It's about people, right? So people going out playing that sales as a numbers game, they're just running through it. They're just going through it. And one of the biggest problems is that people show up assuming everybody's just like them and that they speak the same language, right?
That's right.
So
yes.
What happens in that process, and I'll tell you a little story. So I went through this bank training to help me with sales. Day one, I'm into it, and all of these light bulbs went off. And I said, oh my gosh, I have been parenting wrong for 18 years with one of my children.
Okay.
18 years I did it wrong. They were wired from start to finish completely different than me. I was showing up as the fun mom, as the spontaneous mom, as the mom who comes in and wants to go on a trip last minute. And one of my kids loved it, but the other one didn't. So although I knew everything about my child, what I was missing was their core values and what was important to them. So when I realized that, I was able to speak their language, and we now have the best relationship that we ever had. So if you take that instance and you take that and put it into a business scenario, how are you supposed to know who that person is that's sitting across from you?
Well, that's a struggle I because I'm wired for, I like the big picture. I don't want to get down into the detail. And I tend to talk in bullet points, or write in bullet points at least. Maybe I ramble when I'm doing something like this, but I tend to be bullet points. Get to the point, show me, and I don't want to go through all the fluff, and I definitely glaze over when people give me lots of detail, and that's how I do it. My presentations are this. I've got templates for the presentations. Have the templates and things like that. So why doesn't that work? I mean, it's clear, it's concise.
For you and your distinct buying personality, your buying behavior, the way you're wired, right?
Yeah.
But if you're meeting someone who is not wired like you, it's going to sound like you're speaking a foreign language.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that example, so the way people are wired, right? So let's look at the different types of people.
Yes.
If you have a blueprint person,
mm-hmm.
because BANK is an acronym for the 4 personality types. So there's blueprint means they value things like systems, planning, structure, stability, predictability. They avoid risk, right? They're inside that box. Then you have that action person. They blew up the box. There's like rocket ships flying all over the place. They want those bullet points. They don't want all the details. Your blueprints want details, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 polar opposites. Actions are like that. Movers, shakers, millionaire makers. They can be loud. They can come at you like they just drank Red Bull, right? Where your blueprint is more reserved and more about business. So now you have, if you look at it just with those 2, that action person is going to run over that blueprint.
Yeah.
They're not going to give them the information they need, right? So then you look at the nurturing. They're all about the love. They're all about building those relationships. It's like honey. They want authenticity, personal growth, teamwork. They're all about the love.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They recycled the box, right? And then you look at the knowledge type person. They're like, listen, without me, you wouldn't even have a box. I engineered that box. They want learning, data, research, logic, the big picture, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody's made up of all 4 of those codes. So in that buying cycle, my code is action, nurturing, knowledge, blueprint. So when people come at me with details and structures and systems and plan, I want to poke my eyes out. It forces a no. I had a financial advisor. I wanted life insurance. I met with 6 people, Ross, 6 people. And I kept telling them, listen, don't give me all the details. I'm going to say no. Like, this is what I want. Until I laid out the cards, right, and literally broke down my buying behavior, my core values, and what was important to me. It wasn't until that 6th person that they looked at it and they said, oh, I can do this. I said, yes, you can. Here's exactly how to sell me. And they did. I bought the life insurance.
And that's, I know I go like that as well. And one of the stories I've adjusted, because I am using BANK as part in my business, and I really believe in it. I've been using it since February this year. But for me to connect with somebody who is into detail and they are risk averse and things like that is very difficult. But what I've done is it's helped me change my language, that I say the old story, tell them what you're going to do what you're going to do, and say and then summarize what you've done, and keep it. Make sure that you are in detail and they've got the systems, the structure, and processes. And I've done that with a number of my clients who their first code is talking about is blueprint, structure, processes, systems. And as a result, my relationship has improved. And yet,
absolutely.
And the other part of it is I've always looked, I always want to look up things. I want to find out more about it and things like that. And when I found out, well, that's what my personality, I felt like, oh, wow, that's what it's all about. And it's just an understanding. And I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she was describing something about her work. And all of a sudden I realized I understand. She's like me. She likes the knowledge and she goes and research and that, but she's got a good, strong systems and processes. So it's helping me understand my own daughter.
Absolutely.
Whether it helps me.
It opens your eyes up to a whole new world, because now you're looking at people and understanding why they need the information that they need. I blew a deal, Ross, for $180,000 in a matter of minutes because our personalities collided prior to knowing bank. And I was able to go back and save that sale after I learned what I learned, because they needed all the details. They asked a lot of questions. They didn't want chit chat. I came at them as a super high energy, hey, asking about their family and their kids and giving her donuts. She wanted none of it. None of it. So every time I would try to talk about something, because there was awkward silence, which actions don't particularly care for, it turned into a nightmare. And she literally, what she was done with me before we even were half an hour into the meeting. I mean, as soon as she met me, she was done. And and so I had to go back and I had to redo the meeting completely different. So I sat there, I didn't talk. The only time I talked is when she asked me something. I stayed right on schedule, followed the agenda to the T, and didn't, and I was very laid back, and I had to change, because it's not just the words. It's your body language. It's what you wear. It's your tone. It's understanding how to adapt to that, what that person needs in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Just one thing before we get too far in, you're talking about the relationship. You have to understand your own code, plus the other people. We can do that easily by doing the bank personality assessment profile. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely, and it takes less than 90 seconds, so it's fun, accurate.
And do you have a link? Sorry, Michelle, you carry on. I interrupted.
I was just going to ask you if you have a link for our listeners so that they can get their free report and check out.
It's running along on the banner line right now.
Perfect. That's awesome.
So, folks, that personality enables you to do the personality assessment. You will get a complimentary 26-page report. It's valued at $99 because you can only do it by cracking your code using that link. And it'll take you 90 seconds. All you have to do is put the cards in order, what's most important to you to the least important. What's the most like you to the least like you. And you sort out. Each card will show you things that relate to you. That's why we say, and Michelle was talking about bank, says you are made up of all 4 personalities. And you have to address all those when you're talking to other people and know what yours are as well. Do that. And also, if you want to have time to discuss it, then you're welcome to use this link here, running along down below, networkwithross.com. And I'll answer any questions you have about the report. But please take advantage of it. And what I'll do is, Michelle, I'll just share the screen. And it's got some QR codes on there. Whoops. And normal story, when you do that in technology and you think you had it right, you don't. There we go. So on the screen there, folks, you can do that. Also, I'm holding a webinar this Thursday, Australian time, at 12:30 p.m., giving more detail about how you can actually build your business and also how you can utilize the bank methodology. But that's on Thursday there, and the middle one, you can book your spot. But okay, I'll take the screen share off. My mouse doesn't want to behave this morning. There we go. We're back. So, Michelle, we're coming towards the end of the time. I'd love we next. What is easy for people to do if they think about it? How do they best build this into their what they do? Where do they? How do they think about relationships? What do they have to do it at the buyer persona stage, or is it the sales training, or is it both? Where is it?
Everything involves relationships and people. So using this will make people a better version of themselves. It will help their sales teams. It will help their employees. It will help their team building, their leadership, their customer retention, their customer acquisition, anything that has to do with people, right? Because everybody can take all the different trainings that they want, which is great. But until they truly understand people and make people matter, now all of a sudden that's a game changer. So their first step is to have their awareness of themselves. And with the link that Ross put in there, crack your family's code, crack your team's code, crack the code of the people around you, and start to see. As soon as you see the codes, you're going to go, oh my gosh, this makes total sense. Now I know why. I'll use me as an example. Michelle avoids structure and systems. Why is she the seat of her pants and is never organized? That would be why, because there's certain things people stay away from, and there's certain things that are important to them.
And that's part of that. It helps you with if you're trying to scale your business. If you understand, like I'm like you, and I say that my B is right out to my right hand side compared to my other personality types, it means that get somebody in that can do those system structures and processes and likes doing the detail. I think you and I talked about putting somebody into a reception role. Would you put somebody, what type of personality would you expect to be in a reception role for an organization, say a manufacturing or just a wholesale one? Michelle, what type of person would you personally with a person have idea, you think?
If you want somebody who's greeting people, you want them to have a high nurturing, right? You want that nurturing to be up there so that they're greeting people, they care about people, they really want to help people, and they're warm and welcoming when you walk in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it gives you that ability to really understand and connect and on a whole deeper level. Because that's what people are missing. They think that everyone is wired like them. They understand things, like when you were talking about how you need bullet points. When we go into a conversation, we assume that the other person is the same way. And even if you try to put them into a category and say, well, they're, I say a D in DISC, right? There's more to that person, and they can shift and flow. You got to meet them where they are.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that part where you when you're looking at building the organization in the marketing, it helps you with your communications, because it's how do you get more bang for your buck? Well, if you make your communications more effective, then you'll have more money because it's going to be more effective, and because you're talking to the people in the language that they like to. Give me the big picture, and I've got to sell myself on it. The action person is going to want, it's fun, it's going to be lively, easy to implement, and I don't have to worry about the detail, or I can get somebody who can do the detail. So if you've got your marketing material showing that type of thing, then it will be far more effective. You're going to get more yeses.
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it.
Well, absolutely. And the system is the only methodology in the world that's scientifically validated to predict buying behavior. And buy-in behavior, why do people buy into you, right? So it was built to increase sales up to 300%. What they found out was that it was changing people's personal lives as well. So it's like that yin and yang. But understanding, if you want to make a bigger impact in the world, like you were talking about with your marketing, You want to be able to communicate to all 4 different types of people. That gets you that bigger impact. So you're reaching more people. You'd be amazed at how many people, when they're doing even their social media posts, aren't reaching. They're leaving 75% of their sales on the table, just like
That's
their
right.
sales conversations.
And that's the hardest thing to get to understand. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. It's in how you as you say, body language. We use so much written communication. It's important, and I notice I'm focusing far more on how I put things. Will it resonate with the person at the other end? And I believe I'm actually it's doing me better. But it's maybe more weird just having that conversation way back at the beginning of the year about it. Just made me think about what I say, how I say it, and how to vary it. And if you change the marketing scripts, even the scripts that you give people when they're calling into the call center or the reception, maybe there's a different way. But for the sales team particularly, I really believe, or if you're in a selling role, and anybody that's facing with a customer is selling, because you're trying to build the relationships and get them to come back and buy more. And if you can do that, and this is one of the few ways that they can do it, and I really believe that you can generate more leads by having the right marketing communication. You're going to get a better bang for your buck, and you're going to convert those more than into sales, so you don't have to get as many leads. You're saving time. And once you've got them converted to the customer, you can convert more. And what's the cheapest form of sale? It's to an existing customer. So
Absolutely.
that's where we're taking. Michelle, look, we're coming up to time that we don't like to go any further with. Have you got any last minute tips that people can do?
My tip is to crack your code and get on Ross's calendar, because he has some pretty amazing technology that he can show you too that will have you make a bigger impact in the world with your marketing and your communication skills.
Thank you for the plug there, Michelle. Don't forget, folks, you can connect with Michelle on LinkedIn. She's delighted to connect with you. I talk with Michelle regularly on there, and I'll just put her link down there again. But if you've got any questions, please say hi to us. Drop them in the comments box in LinkedIn or Facebook, because this has gone live out to all of those. And we'd love to see you next week. Craig, well, we won't be back next week. It's going to be the 9th of January in the US, and it'll be the 10th of January here in Australia. So join us then. We'll be continuing our conversations of Taters and Shrimps on the Barbie about things business. If you've got some ideas, or you've got some questions or guests you'd like us to have on the show, please let us know. And thanks very much today, Michelle. Wonderful to have you on today. Thank you very much for giving up your time. It's lovely and warm down here on the beach at the Gold Coast. I mean, we go that way, Ross.
Come on, it's snowing here, Ross. Don't tease me with beach.
It's a pleasure, Michelle. Hey, look, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day. And as we won't be talking before Christmas on the show, have a fantastic Christmas and the new year, and stay safe. And we'll see you in 2023. Wow, 23.